Good morning, friends. How are you doing? Good afternoon. Yeah, I can't say this is morning ritual anymore, can I? How are you doing today, baby love? I don't normally stream this late, but I had a very slow morning, but I really want to. I really care about it. So I want to stream with you all. Alright, I want to pray with you all. Hello from Denver. You've been cleaning your kitchen, but you'll be here. Great. I make good background noise. So, we're going to pray today. So we'll start by doing some vocal warm-ups, some harmonic meditation, if you will, to get our voices ready. And then we'll say some words from the book of Deuteronomy. Good morning, Wendy. Hi, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom from Israel. So nice to see you, Batty. So we're going to say some words from the book of Deuteronomy. Probably the most commonly repeated words in the Jewish tradition. And we'll explore what those words mean a little bit with some other prayers, some English prayers. And then we'll move on to some mantras in Sanskrit. And then we'll conclude. And how many of you have been here before? And we do a quick poll, because I never know like who in this audience has come to a live stream before and knows the sequence of prayers that we're going to do. And how many of you are here for the first time? Batty, you've been here before. Sophie's been here before. Good morning, Ash. Nice to see you too. I look amazing. Well, thank you. Yes, you've been here many times. Katie. Yeah, you've been here once or twice. I did Yizkor. No. I've not done a Yizkor service in a while. Certainly not live. Kaddish. Yes. We're going to be saying Kaddish for my partner's grandfather, who died a couple of days ago. I haven't said Kaddish for him publicly yet, so that will be how we conclude. We will say Kaddish. Yeah. My week is going pretty well, Ash. Can't complain. I mean, I can, but I shouldn't. Good morning. You're studying Sanskrit. Absolutely incredible to hear it. Well, great. Cat dog. We'll get to some Sanskrit prayers in a moment. So, we can start with some vocal warm-ups. I like to try to sustain single notes for as long as I can. I'm going to a funeral this weekend, Dra. I'm going to a funeral for my partner's grandfather, Alan Kadish. And I suppose, in a certain sense, formal funeral rites start right now. Say Kaddish for him. Here come the milk questions. Yeah. Oh, Katie. I like you. Okay, so vocal warm-up time. Long, sustained harmonic meditation, meaning that as we make a single tone, try to listen to the sound and hear all of the different sounds within it, and all of the different places in your body that they emanate from. So we'll take a deep breath. Exhale with a tone. Inhale. You'd love to send me some candles? Well, I would love to receive them. If you join my Discord server, I will send you my address that you can send me candles at. You wouldn't be the first to send me candles, although I haven't actually picked them up from the mail yet. Next week, I'm going to the post office box, and I'll get your candles, baby love. I know it's been some time. Oh, you live in Israel. Well, don't send me candles then. That would be prohibitively expensive. But we can still chat on Discord if you like. You need the P.O. Box too? Okay. I'll send it to you, Abby, right after the stream. I'll send you my P.O. Box address. I don't check it often because it's in a faraway place. It's just for online people to send things to. I don't give out my real address because I live in a community, and some people in my community don't want me to give out my full address, and I have to respect that. So I have a P.O. Box in a faraway place, and I don't check it often, but I do have it. Not for candles, for Christmas gifts. Okay, I'll make sure to get you that info. Let's continue with vocal warm-ups. What religion do I practice? What religion do you practice, simply? What religion do any of you practice, actually? That is a question best asked of this entire group. The religion that I practice is not as relevant as you might think, right? Yes, as Abby says, I'm Jewish, but I respect all religions. But really, if you're asking more specifically, like, what religion is happening here? I can't give you an answer to that question. The answer is relating to and contingent on all of the practices of all of the people in this space. So do tell me, what religion do you practice? All of you. What tradition are you from? What are your ritual traditions? What did your parents do? What did your grandparents do? What did you learn when you were little? What are you learning now? What do you practice? It's a very important question. I always love to hear the answer. And every stream is different. No religion. Yeah. Every stream is different. Every day the audience is different. You know that every 30 seconds, half of this audience disappears and is replaced by a different group of people with different demographic properties? It's wild, right? Like, I never have any idea who I'm talking to. So, what religion is happening here is... Yes, I know, you're a green star. I just saw one of the videos you posted, a silly little song. It was very cute. You were an Orthodox Jew, and you're now on your own path, finding God in everything, and you believe in anything. That's so great. I'm so happy to have every one of you here. Silent watcher, but you watch my lives all the time. Well, I'm glad you didn't say completely silent. You grew up Muslim in an Arab home, but you practice Christianity now. That's so interesting. Your parents are Christian, but you're working to find your own spirituality. You do meditation. Your own native tradition. Christian. There's too much to everything to disregard anything. Yes. There's too much to everything to disregard anything. What a phrase. That's very good. That will be our theme for today. There's too much of everything to disregard anything. And with that, we can say the Shema. Shema Yisrael Asher Eloheinu Yahweh Echad. There's too much of everything to disregard anything. My voice is a little hoarse. There's too much of everything to disregard anything. So these gods, Ashrae, Yahweh, El, right? There's too many of them. There's so many gods. So many stories about so many characters that scattered across the whole ancient world. So many. There's so many of them. There's too much of everything to disregard anything. We can't disregard any of those gods. But in order to perceive all of them, we need to make a philosophical move, right? We have to make a theological supposition. Shema Yisrael, listen Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu Ashra, these gods, so many gods, Echad, are one. All gods are one. Either everything is a miracle or nothing is. Yes. Spirituality and religion is a journey, and you can find what makes you happiest. Am I religious? Necrofancy. I'm not sure. Are you religious? I think it's so fascinating to learn about other people's beliefs and practices. It's so interesting. I do too. Will you please tell me more about your beliefs and practices? Like, I know it's really hard in a live chat like this, right? Because you only have like 100 characters and the stream just goes on and on forever. And often your comments will be missed. But like, please tell me about your practices. Tell me about the rituals that you do every day. Have a conversation about it in chat. I would love to read that. Everything is simply a shape. Everything is simply a shape, a form, an identifier to let other recognize me as me, but then, what am I? You're pagan, you believe in reincarnation. So, we have this claim from the book of Deuteronomy. 6 words. Very simple. Listen, Israel, the names of these gods are all one, right? Yahweh Echad. If you really loved yourself, you couldn't hurt another. Buddha, you're Catholic. You love my spirit. Well, thank you. So all these gods are one, and what are we to do with this claim, right? This imposition of theology from the Deuteronomists. They insist all gods are one. Yahweh Echad. Yahweh is one. I think you're righteous. You live such an authentic life. What are we to do with the Tetragrammaton? Bad boy. What are we to do with this claim that the Tetragrammaton is the only holy thing? ואהבת את ענת אלוהיך ובכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר נוחי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Words don't define the source. We have to look past the religious labels. We are one. Amen. Amen. You can't help but think there's something to everything. You're Greek Orthodox. Part of your family was religious, but you were not raised religious. Good morning. What do those words mean? They're commonly referred to as the V'ahavta, and the first word V'ahavta means, and you shall love. And you shall love Yahweh Eloheinu with all your heart and all your soul and all your might. And these words, the words that I've just said, teach them to your children. Teach them to anyone who will listen. Anyone who wishes to learn. It's a meme. Send this letter to your grandmother and you will receive 3 wishes. Say them when you rise up and when you go to bed and when you are out on the road and when you lie down at home. And you shall bind them as a symbol on your hand and let them serve as a sign on your forehead. And inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. The prayer says, copy me. And so I copy it every morning. Right now. It's not morning. I'm still copying the prayer. I'm conveying what I understand of this prayer to you because I think it is holy. I think it is something that is worth doing. Something worth listening to. Always pray before you eat, and thank God for everyone. Sorry it's delayed. Is the chat delayed? Are you getting an audio lag? Do let me know how the audio quality is. You agree. I'm beautiful. You don't feel any connection to the Christian version of God. You don't know where to go from here. Well, I didn't either for a very long time. I'm not sure I do, other than that, Jesus is an interesting historical character. Where do we go from here? My response, and this is just one kind of response, one of many possible responses to this thing that I think is pretty universal among Americans in our time. I don't connect to the Christian God, and yet he's everywhere. That's the only model for religion that I know. What do I do from here? I have chosen to look backwards, to look to the root. Right? So you'll notice in the words that I say the name of the Tetragrammaton, I say Yahweh, right? And I also use other goddess names like Ashrae here, right? So Ashrae was an Israelite goddess who was worshipped before monotheism came into being, right? Before this idea of a totalitarian male divinity, king of the universe who rules it from outside it. Before that idea crystallized and took its modern form, there were other versions of this tradition that we all have inherited to some respect as English-speaking people, right? There are other versions of this tradition that we can connect to if we look back at the base of the tree, right? And Ashrae is often associated with a tree. Ashrae was associated with the tree of life, and in the last few hundred years, we've updated what the Tree of Life looks like, right? This is one version of it. The Tree of Life has been a motif in this tradition for 3,000 years, and here's the most modern version that I know of. This is a phylogenetic Tree of Life, and we can see that we all come from the same root. Right here is Luca, the last universal common ancestor, right? And this is a symbol for me. This is a symbol for Ashrae, right? I can reach back to the root and try to connect with aspects of my tradition that may have been forgotten, but that I do not want to forget, right? That can help me connect to the Christian God, whatever character he is. Sky Daddy, right? Oh, Daddy, don't hurt me. I don't care for Sky Daddy, but I do have to acknowledge him sometimes. Pagan gods. You don't really trust the Bible because you feel like they add things to it. Oh yes, they added plenty to it for their own political aims, right? And they eliminated things from it for their own political aims, like Ashrae. You love that you include all gods in the Shema. Yes, it's very important. It's so important, right? These are all important gods. They're all important ideas to recognize and to think about. You are closed-minded with closed-minded people, and now that you're older, you've opened your mind to more perspectives. Well, I'm so glad you're here. Don't look outside. Look inward and connect. It's all in you, like a seed. You have all you need. I like these aphorisms very much. Can you just speak to me in aphorisms, please? It makes the feed so good. Sky Daddy. Yeah, I don't care for him. This has helped and given me something to think about. Thank you. You're so welcome, Sophie. So, with that, we can say one more Hebrew prayer, right? And this one can give us some political context for why Sky Daddy is Sky Daddy, right? He's concerned about his political authority because he often loses it. He used to be Hasidic, ultra-Orthodox. This is refreshing. I'm so happy to hear that. Maybe you can tell me your own experience about the prayers that I'm going to say next. They're a little bit more obscure. So first, we have next in the book of Deuteronomy, after the V'ahavta, there's a few lines that I interpret as a land acknowledgement, basically, right? They acknowledge that the land of Israel is stolen land, and that it was stolen from others, right? So here's the Hebrew. V'chaya. Ki v'achaya ve'elohecha el ha'aretz asher nisba lavatecha le'avram le'yitzchak u'Yaakov latet lach avrim gedolot v'tovot asher lo vanita uvatim mili'im kol tova asher lemileta uverot hatzavim asher lo hasata ke'arim bizitim asher lo natata ve'alachta v'shavata hishamer lecha pen tishchach et Yahweh asher tishacha mi'eretz Mitzrayim mibet avadim. When Yahweh Eloheinu brings you into the land that he swore to your fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to assign to you, great and flourishing cities that you did not build, houses full of all good things that you did not fill, hewn cisterns that you did not hew, vineyards and olive groves that you did not plant, and you eat your fill. Take heed that you do not forget Yahweh, who freed you from the land of Egypt, the house of bondage. Have any of you heard that prayer before? Did any of you recite it in synagogue? They certainly didn't recite it in my synagogue, even though we said the V'ahavta every day. Nobody went just a little bit further in the text and read those lines. Because those lines are frightening lines, right? Hey, when you go and you enjoy the house that you didn't build, and you drink from a cistern that you didn't hew, and you eat from olive groves and vineyards that you did not plant, who planted them? Who built those cities that you did not build? When you're in them, remember Yahweh, who freed you from the land of Egypt, the house of bondage. And if you don't remember him, if you do not keep his commandments, the implication goes, that's basically the thesis of the book of Deuteronomy. If you do not keep the Lord's commandments, then he will return you to the house of bondage. He will return you to Babylon, to Egypt, to Auschwitz, right? That's the interpretation. So feel grateful for the land you live on, even though it was stolen from someone else. those Philistines, those Palestinians, those Gazans. Yeah, recognize that you stole it from them and appreciate it. And remember your God, or he'll return you to a land of oppression just like them. It's scary. It's a scary thought. I don't know. Does anyone have experience with these lines? Right? Are there other ways to interpret them? Like, I say these lines over and over, and they give me chills. But maybe there are other ways to interpret them. But at the very least, it's a land acknowledgement. No, you never read those lines. Really, Batty? That's so interesting to me. You know, there's a common practice in the U.S. among progressive circles to do land acknowledgements, right? I live on Oneida territory. Once this land that I live on, that I own, right, legally, was stolen. It was stolen from the Oneida people, and they still lay claim to it. And you never thought about their acknowledgement from the people who it was taken from. Yeah, it's important to acknowledge that. It's very important, right? So I live in Oneida land, and I will continue to live here, right? I'm not trying to undo the theft or say that I don't deserve to be here, right? It's not that Israel does not deserve to occupy the land that it occupies, or that the Jewish people don't deserve to live there and make a home there. But we should acknowledge that when we make our homes there, that we are occupying land, occupying homes that we did not build, eating from olive groves that we did not plant. Like, this is just truth, right? Like, I've been to Palestine, I've been to Israel, I've eaten from olive groves that I didn't plant, that no Israeli planted, right? I'm sure you have, Batty. Right? The land is full of them. So we can acknowledge that. It's in the Torah, after all. You live on Squidosh, Squamish, and Stilgalamish lands. That's so great. What does anyone else know what native land they live on? It's a good thing to fill the chat with. Whose land are you occupying? Whose land? So, now we're going to say some more Hebrew prayers. No. Let's do an English prayer. An English prayer. This one is by Leonard Cohen, and it's about that occupation. Israeli land. Yeah. Poet land in Nevada. You live in Oklahoma, so lots of different land. Nanticoke. So, there's this song that Leonard Cohen wrote about occupation, about that original occupation by the land of Babylon. Except it wasn't the original occupation. The Egyptians occupied it first, or earlier. The ancient Greeks' land. You live in Greece, Spyrodula. And it's a song, it's verses about how we can view that genocide, we can view that occupation as a kind of wedding, as a kind of birth. Right? Occupation isn't all doom and gloom. There's a kind of new birth to it. And the song goes like this. I came upon a wedding that old families had contrived, with Bethlehem the bridegroom and Babylon the bride. Oh, great Babylon was trembling, and she stood there naked with me. And Bethlehem inflamed us both like the shy one at some orgy. And when we fell together, all our flesh was like a veil that we had to draw aside to see the serpent eat its tail. Some women wait for Jesus, and some we wait for Cain. So I'll hang upon this altar, and I'll hoist my axe again, and I'll take the one who finds me back to where it all began, back when Jesus was the honeymoon, and Cain was just a man. And we'll read from pleasant Bibles that are bound in blood and skin, bound in blood and skin. That Ashrae is gathering all her children back again. Ashrae was a very scary goddess, right? She was a cannibal, often, the mother who eats her young, gathering her children back again to a kind of death and rebirth. At least that's how I interpret that song. Right? The invasion of the Babylonian Empire into the kingdom of Judah was a kind of wedding, a kind of orgy, written down in Bibles bound in blood and skin. What religion is this? Oh, what an excellent question, Joanne. What an excellent question. I'm not sure. Earlier in the chat I asked, what religion are you? I got a variety of answers. A variety of answers. We can ask that question again. How many of you are new? How many of you are here 20 minutes ago when I asked that question earlier? And how many of you are new? Probably 40, 50 of you are new and didn't hear me ask that question. What a thing. What religion is this? The religion that this is a chimera, a hybrid of all of the religions of all of the people in this room. Still here. And it's strongly informed by Judaism and Hinduism, because those are the traditions that I was exposed to when I was young, right? My parents and my grandparents and my great-grandparents, we were all Jewish. And so I have that lineage in my veins. I have the trauma of the Holocaust in my psyche, right? Our gays welcome, of course. You don't believe in one organized religion. That's why you love it so much here. All inclusive. Thank you, baby love. But right now, we are still pretty firmly in the Jewish tradition. Chimera, yes. Like a cherubim, a creature, or a seraphim, or a Pegasus, a sphinx, right? A creature with more than one animal body in its body. Your heritage and tradition is Jewish, but your beliefs line with animism or agnosticism. So we're still fairly firmly in the Jewish portion of this stream, and I have a couple more Jewish prayers for you today. And if any of you have heard these in a different context, please do let me know, because I'm always curious about other contexts that these words come in. I learned these words not firsthand, but by doing research into Hasidism. After hearing some stories, and I looked up the words, they're words that Jewish men say every morning when they wake up. Thank you, God, for not making me a woman. And then they say other words when they use the bathroom, which I think is very interesting. And I've taken these words. You could argue that I've appropriated them because I'm not Hasidic and I never was. And I've given them a meaning that fits me better. But I always worry that I'm mistranslating, misunderstanding them. So if you have experience with these words, do let me know. They go like this. Baruch atah Yahweh, Eloheinu melech haolam, Shelu Ashani Isha. I repeat the name of Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Eloheinu, King of the universe, who did not make me a woman. I did. Use it after a bowel movement. Asher Yatzar. Asher Yatzar, that's the name of a prayer. Asher Yatzar, okay, I need to write that down right now. Asher Yatzar. Asher Yatzar. I will look that up. Is it this prayer? Baruch atah Asherah, Anat Malacha Halam, Asher Yitzchachet Ha'adam B'chachama Uvara Ve'o. Asher Yitzar it. Yes! Asher Yitzar et Ha'adam B'chachama Uvara Ve'o. Her name is in there. Her name is still in there. Yeah! Baruch atah Yahweh, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher yitzar et ha'adam b'chachama uvara ve'o. Yes! Thank you, Ashra, for making me with many openings and cavities. That's a woman's prayer, right? And when I say that, it means something special, right? When I transitioned, I had to relate to my openings in new ways. I had to, right? The way that I had sex changed. Yes, you recall the Ashrae Prayer. Yeah, I love that prayer too. So it's interesting that it survives in this, so Ashrae worship, right? Ashrae worship was this ancient practice, right, of the divine feminine. And somehow, throughout thousands of years of patriarchy, it's translated itself into a prayer that is said when you use the bathroom. Like, hey, thank you for giving me these openings and cavities that allow my body to take in and expel. What a feminine thing, right? But if that's the vestige of it, if that's the fossil, right? If that's the theological fossil that we have to remember Ashrae by, it's not nothing, right? Or did you ever hear the story about when Moses was wandering through the desert with his people and there are snakes in the camp? And they cry out to God, help us, we're poisonous snakes in the camp. And Moses speaks to Yahweh, and Yahweh says, all right, here's what you should do. You should take a snake and put it on a pole. And then if anyone is bitten by the snake, they shall look upon the pole and live. Right? That's some straight up idol worship right there. This is in the book of Exodus. Hey, make a brass snake, set it on a pole, look at the pole and live. Right? That's Ashrae worship. Right? Ashrae was associated with the cosmic snake, the serpent that eats its tail. It's still in the Bible. Right? She cannot be eliminated. She can just be forgotten. She goes cryptically in the form of symbols. Ashrae. Baruch atah Ashrae. Anat melecha ha'olam asher yitzaret ha'adam b'chachama u'vara ve'o. Thank you, Tima. Thank you so much. Yeah, I aspire to garden fairy. For better or for worse, I fill out the fantasies of the internet. Blue is my color. Am I a girl or a boy? What do you think? My partner is doing okay. Yeah, we're going to go to a funeral in a couple days. But we're doing okay. Right? You know, it was his time. He was 92. We all knew he was going. She saw him last week, and his children gave him permission to die in a pretty profound way. They had a very important conversation, and 2 days later he died. You think I'm a goddess? Oh, baddie. To the extent that goddesses are ideas, I can embody that idea. Sure. I killed a goat the other day. So my opinion on veganism is be aware of the death that is in your food, whether or not you're a vegan. And I'm not going to say much more about it. Yeah, the funeral is Sunday. So I won't be streaming on Sunday. Have I seen me in yellow? I like colors, right? Like that's what I figured out how to do. I figured I could look good if I just wear a color palette, right? It doesn't kind of matter what I'm wearing, just to show off my shape just a little bit. And just choose a color and run with it. It works pretty well. So, that's it for the Hebrew for a little bit before we return, and we'll say Kaddish for my grandfather, Alan Kadish. We'll say Kaddish. But we're going to take a break from Hebrew for a moment, and we're going to shift into Sanskrit. Thank you for the rose. Positive vibes. I really appreciate that. We're going to shift into Sanskrit. So these are some prayers that I learned at the Shivananda ashram. Shivananda was a guru in India, and he sent some of his students to America, and they started religious institutions and framed them specifically to appeal to people like me. And my mother brought me there when she was pregnant, right? And I learned their prayers before I understood them, just like the Hebrew prayers. Although I don't agree with much religion-wise, I'm amazing. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. So there are a few prayers that I learned at Shivananda. One is said at the start of some breathing exercises, pranayama. And another one is called the Mahari Unjaya mantra. It's a Shiva mantra. And we're going to say some prayers in Sanskrit now. And if you have any questions about them, you let me know. I put off a calming vibe. Well, thank you, Ray. Gajananam Bhuttaganati Sevitam Kapita Jambupala Sarabakshitam Umasutam Sagavinasakaranam Mahamatim Divyamayuravahanam Ridasyasinam Surasainanatam Guham Sadanam Saranam Prapadye Yaku Enduti Saraharadvala Yasi Pravasvarita Yavina Varanda Manditakara Yasvita Padmasana Yabramachuta Sankara Pratra Bidevasata Pujita Samampatu Saraswati Bhagavati Nihesadyapaha Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachidananda Murtaye Nisparanchaya Santaya Shivanandaya Te Namaha Shivishni Devanandaya Te Namaha Om Sarva Mangla Manglaye Shive Savarta Sadike Saranye Chayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Narayani Namostute Om We repeat the name of the Divine Mother Narayani, who brings auspiciousness to those who repeat her name. Right? Like, There are many formats of name repetition, right? Like in the Hebrew context that we were doing earlier, the direct translation is praised are you, Tetragrammaton, King of the universe, right? And I usually just say I repeat the name of Yahweh, and that comes from my exposure to the Hindu tradition. There often the prayers are simply I repeat the name of so-and-so, right? I repeat the name of the Divine Mother Narayani, who brings auspiciousness to her devotees, right? Divine Mother. Ashrae, right? This is not Narayani, and yet it is Narayani, right? It's the same character, the same goddess. Just enjoying the calmness before you go to work. With your favorite second graders. You teach second graders? That's great. Going to sleep. Get some sleep, my friend. It was so lovely to have you in the live stream and remind me that Ashrae Yitzhar is the name of the prayer. Yeah, her name is buried in there. Gosh. So amazing. Have a nice rest. So, the next prayer we're going to do is called the Mahari Unjaya mantra. It's a Shiva mantra. And it reminds us that everything and nothing are intertwined. You're a teacher's assistant. You work with those that need extra help in math and reading. That's so cool. Hi, Undergarden System. How are you? What should I call you today? Asher means happiness or blessed. Ashra, happy, blessed. The tribe of Asher. Jayambakam yajamai sugandim pushtivadanam Orva rukami bhavandanan mrityar mukshiyamamritato Trayambakam yajamai sugandim pushtivardhanam Orva rukami bhavandanan mrityar mukshiyamamritat Om Sarvesham svastir bhavatu sarvesham shantir bhavatu sarvesham purnam bhavatu sarvesham mangalam bhavatu sarve bhavantu sukhina sarve santu niramaya sarve bhadrani pashantu ma kashid dukkha bhagmave asatoma satgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityor mamritam gamaya Om purnamadam purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnamivavashishate Om shanti 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 Om peace, peace, peace. Sacred Fairy Lady, the name of that mantra is Mahari Unjaya. And the translation of the last verse goes, Om. That outer world is full, this inner world is also full. From fullness comes fullness, taking fullness from fullness, fullness remains. Om, peace, peace, peace. Like a serpent that eats its tail, take full from full, fullness remains. We'll have breakfast in a bit, Ms. Mary. We'll have some rice and almonds and seaweed, dried fruit. But first we have to get through these prayers. It's very important that we get through every single prayer. Probably rice, your best guess. Yeah. Enwars, I have to get to know you better before I'd let you join my live. I do sometimes let folks join my live. Jolie joins my live sometimes. But you have to join my Discord server first and get to know me. There's a link in my bio. We can chat there. And if you want to perform with me, I'm not opposed to it. But I gotta know you. Got to know you. So, let's sing in English for a little bit. It can be a little bit accessible. Some more people will join the chat. You're back! I thought you were going to bed. I want to share a prayer with you now by Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros. Right? It's a pretty little folk song. And it's a song about prayer and why we pray. Why I pray. Why Edward Sharpe prays. And it's a song in paradox. Right? It's kind of like Thunder Perfect Mind, if you've ever heard of that Gnostic text. It's a song in paradox, and for me it captures why I pray better than perhaps any of the Hebrew or Sanskrit mantras. And it goes like this. I don't want to pray to my maker, no, no, I just want to be what I see. Not just who I am, but the pink and golden land, and that wide, wild sky over me. Help me to the sun, hey, I'm looking everywhere. See, I'm looking to become not the prayer, but the prayer. And I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray, no, no, no. I don't want to pray, we don't want to pray. Pray, and it's not much good to talk, better to walk it. Ooh, not much good to take, better to give. We are done, forgiven, and forgotten of our sins, and I promise you, my friends, all that dies will live again. So, pardon, God and Mom, what I'm saying isn't fair. See, I'm looking to become not the prayer, but the prayer, and I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray, no, no, no. I don't want to pray, we don't want to pray. Pray. Love Allah, Allah made love. And Yahweh, Yahweh made hate. Ashrae, Ashrae made good. And Anat made bad. Elohim made love. And Yahweh, Yahweh made hate. Love Allah. God made, God made, God made. But I don't want to pray to my maker. I just want to be feeling free. Not like in a book, or the leaves of trees that shook, from a word that means only not a thing. Hashem. Pardon, God and Mom. What I'm saying isn't fair. See, I'm looking to become not the prayer, but the prayer. And I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray, no, no, no. I don't want to pray, we don't want to pray. Pray. Love Allah, Allah made love, and Yahweh, Yahweh made hate. Ashrae, Ashrae made good, and Anat made bad. Elohim made love, and Yahweh, Yahweh made hate. Love Allah. God made, God made, God made me. Except that's a lie, fiction. It's a story, it's a narrative. Words that we share with one another in order to create shared understanding amongst each other. They're not strictly true in that who could create me but me, right? I am the only one who has the ability to produce this body, just me. And we are the only ones that have the ability to produce this community, right? We make one another through shared attention, shared experience. We make each other. So thank you. I'm glad you like this song, Manda. I'm glad. So, we have a couple more prayers today, and then we'll have breakfast. We're going to say Arati, and the word Arati is Sanskrit for light or flame. And then we will say Kaddish, and Kaddish means holy in Hebrew, although its roots go far, far back beyond that, right? You can think of the goddess Ketesh. Here she is. This is a replica of an image found in Western Syria, Yes, the western coast of Syria, in a city named Ketesh. This goddess named Ketesh is a sex goddess, right? Look how she arouses those Egyptian gods. So Kadosh means many things. It means holy, it means prostitute, and today it means grief, mourning. So we will say Arati, and we will say Kaddish. Arati is Sanskrit for flame or light. I learned Arati at the Shivananda ashram. And as I say this prayer and new people trickle in, although crowd has thinned out over the last 2 or 3 minutes, so maybe it'll just be a tiny intimate prayer. But if anyone does come in and ask what language we're speaking in, do tell them that it is Sanskrit. And if you're feeling extra educational, you can tell them that the word Arati means light or flame. It goes like this. Jaya Jaya Arati Vina Vinayaka Vina Vinayaka Shri Ganesha Jaya Jaya Arati Subramanya Subramanya Kartikeya Jaya Jaya Arati Venugopala Venu Gopala, Venu Ola, Papa Vidura Navanita Chora, Jaya Jayarati Venkanta Ramana, Venkanta Ramana Sankata Harana, Sita Rama Radhe Shama, Jaya Jayarati Gauri Manohara, Gauri Manohara, Bhavani Sankara, Samba Sadashiva Uma Maheshwara, Jaya Jayarati Raja Rajeshwari, Raja Rajeshwari, Tripura Sundari, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati, Mahakali, Mahashakti, Jaya Jayarati Anjaneya, Anjaneya Hanumanta, Jaya Jayarati Dattatreya, Dattatreya Trimutri Vatara, Jaya Jayarati Adityaya, Adityaya Bhaskaraya, Jaya Jayarati Sanischaraya, Sanischaraya Bhaskaraya, Jaya Jayarati Sankaracharya, Sankaracharya Advaita Guravi, Jaya Jayarati Sadgurunata, Sadgurunata Shivananda, Jaya Jayarati Vishnu Devananda, Vishnu Devananda, Vishnu Devananda, Jaya Jayarati Agastya Munaye, Agastya Munaye Shriyama Priyaye, Jaya Jayarati Ayapa Swamine, Ayapa Swamine Dharma Shastave, Jaya Jayarati Jesus Gurave, Moses Gurave, Buddha Gurave, Jaya Jayarati Muhammad Gurave, Guru Nanak Gurave, Samastya Gurubho Namaha, Jaya Jayarati Avenu Gopala. Natatra Suyabati Natandrakaratam Nima Vidyobati Kutoya Magni Twameva Bantaminabanti Sarvam Tasya Basya Samidam Vivanti Om Yange Karyamune Kaiva Govari Saraswati Narmade Siddhika Verihiya Namastitam Namo Namaha Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandisha Saka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Jaminam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Kayena Vacha Manasendriyarva Buddhyatmanava Prakriti Sabhavad Karomi Adyad Mangalam Parasmahe Narayana Iti Sarmar Parami Sarvadharmam Pravichayam Amikam Savarnam Vrija Aham Sva Sarva Papayo Mokshayami Masucha. Whatever actions I perform with my body, speech, mind, senses, my nature, my intellect, or my emotions, all these I dedicate to you. To all of you. Thank you all so much for being here with me today to say these inclusive words. Badi, I really appreciate you being here, just because of your background and your knowledge. Hasidim is not or former Hasidim is it's not a demographic that I can communicate with because I don't speak Hebrew, I want to connect with more Jews that have a better understanding of the tradition than I do, because frankly, I'm a little bit disconnected from it, right? Like, I grew up in a conservative synagogue, but I had a bar mitzvah, and then I sort of stopped paying attention, and now I'm coming back to it in my own way, but I don't have a congregation. I'm not part of a Jewish congregation. This is my congregation here, and I need to rely on all of you and your own understanding of God to figure out how to navigate through this world that we're in. You're originally from Canada, and you live in Israel now. Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing your thoughts with all of us. It makes a big difference. And thank you for the roses, Chickpea. So, I have one more prayer to you today. Today I say the prayer with a more vivid sense of loss than normal, I suppose. My partner's grandfather died maybe 48 hours ago in his sleep. He was 92. His name was Alan Kadish. I bear his name. And so we're going to say Kaddish for him today. And not just him, right? This is a prayer of grief for all. Prayer of mourning for all. So if there is anyone that you are mourning today, anything that you are grieving, anything that you want to put into this shared space for us to give our attention to and then let go of, please put their names in the chat. And we can say Kaddish for all those living things who have suffered since our lineage began 3.8 billion years ago, and will continue to suffer until we are done, whenever that is. And for the last 2,500 years, give or take, my ancestors have said words somewhat like this in response to death. And so we'll say them now. Yikadal vidkadash me rabba. B'yamati vrachyote v'yamlich malchute b'chayachon v'yamechon v'chayediko be'Israel b'agala u'bizman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehe shemei rabba mivarach li'olam almei almaya. Yitbarach v'ishtabach v'yitbar v'yormam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalal shemei dekudisha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush v'chata v'nechem atad yamiran b'yama v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba amin shemaya v'chaim alinu v'yachol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. O say shalom v'imrimav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Alinu v'yachol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. O say shalom b'imrimav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'yalechol Yisrael v'imru. V'imru. Amen. Thank you all for joining me today. It means a great deal. Thank you. Of course, you may ask me a question. What is your question? Singing with me. Thank you. Thank you for singing with me. That's all I want. That's why I do this. So that there are others that I can pray with. It's important. So, now it's breakfast time, even though it's 1 o'clock. And turn the camera around. Can turn the camera around. And, there. There's me. Me and a screen. Alright. Redundancy. Look, it's the Ouroboros. It contains itself forever and ever and ever. A recurring image. This image. If you take anything from this stream, any single image, let it be this one. This is what we are. We contain ourselves. We contain multitudes.